So hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and one of the most anticipated MPVs of 2023 is finally here. What I have here is the 2023 Suzuki Ertiga GLX Hybrid. This is the top of the line version of the all-new Ertiga Hybrid here in the Philippines. I am gonna be very honest in this review, FYI. I was expecting the variant that I featured on in the Philippine International Motor Show last September, so that had a lot of views. I am very surprised. I was expecting that sport variant to be released here alongside with this Ertiga. So this is for now the top of the line version that we get, this GLX variant. I really wish they bring that sport variant because that looked really sick. And here on the side profile, exactly the same too, as well in the rear, but more on the rear later on. So the biggest change for this new Ertiga is the front grille. It looks a little bit more aggressive than usual. Otherwise, everything is the same. You have halogen lights here, halogen fog lamps, and the ground clearance itself is 185 millimeters, exactly the same. So another new thing with this 2023 Ertiga are the wheels. Better looking wheels than the pre-facelift model. Repeaters here on the side mirror, and carried over from the previous model, you have the VVT badge over here. So the biggest change actually done to this Ertiga Hybrid is the engine. So open the hood up. Sadly, it is still the same engine. So what they have here is a 1.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine that produces 103 horsepower and 138 Newton meters of torque. And now being a hybrid, well, it's not fully a hybrid vehicle. So what is mated here is a mild hybrid system. So there is a 12-volt battery somewhere over here, and in place of the alternator, you have somewhere in here an integrated starter generator. So exactly the same characteristics like all mild hybrids. So from a standstill, it will give a little bit more power and torque, and going to a stop 2, like coasting, the engine will turn off. This one as well has regenerative braking. And to be honest, I expected a little bit more from this K15B engine. I know it's a mild hybrid system, but I expected like the usual mild hybrid stuff, like a 48-volt battery. This one is just a little bit too small. I mean, it's not bad for what it is, because the price of this GLX top-of-the-line brand costs 1,153,000 pesos. So literally, this is already the top-of-the-line model, and it undercuts most of its competition already. The only one so far in its class that has a hybrid system / mild hybrid system. And yeah, not much changes to the engine power and torque too. Exactly the same. So just a little bit more oomph only given with the 12-volt battery. But I want to see on how this will perform now, given little bit more assistance now from the electric motor itself. So here now at the rear of the Suzuki Ertiga Hybrid, exactly the same taillights. They look Volvo XC60-ish. As well, they are still halogen. Exactly the same rear with the pre-facelift model, although with an addition now of a chrome strip up here. So I'll know soon if the rest of the lower variants have this chrome trim over here. And an addition to is the Ertiga Hybrid badge here. So open this boot up. Exactly the same too like the pre-facelift model. So you have an underfloor storage here. You have a total of 56 liters, and the boot still can carry a full-size umbrella. That's what's nice about it. And surprisingly, exactly the same capacity with the pre-facelift model. So with all of the seats up, you have 199 liters. And with the third row down, you have a total of 550 liters. And finally, with all of the seats down, you have now a total of 803 liters. It is not the biggest one in its class, but as you can see, it is still spacious enough. So that's about it with the engine, the exterior, and the boot of this Suzuki Ertiga Hybrid. I'll show you the interior, where there are minor changes too. So here now in the interior of the Suzuki Ertiga Hybrid. So just this morning before I did my shoot, I just watched the walk-around review of autodeal.com.ph. Yeah, the rear door opening is pretty wide, and the door itself, it is pretty big. Even though I've driven a lot of Ertigas and the XL7, I have review of those by the way. I just realized now too on how wide and big the door is in person, because I'm always here at front. Anyway, so here now in the interior of the Ertiga Hybrid. Okay, being a GLX model, so this interior feels exactly the same and looks the same from the GLX Black Edition. So with the return of the GLX nameplate, there is the return of the wooden trims, which is my favorite. So you have here on the door card, so there's soft pads here for your elbow, and then there's more wood that stretches all the way to the entire dashboard. So it gives it like more of a premium vibe in here. And that's what I forgot, I just saw it now. You have as well the wooden trim here on the steering wheel. So I'm not sure if your fingerprints will be seen, but at least it's better than gloss black. So another update here with this Ertiga Hybrid is the instrument cluster. So there's blue surrounds now on the bezels, and then you have an LED display now there in the middle. Everything is Bluetooth. But hilarious though, like from the XL7, you can still see your G-force meter, power and torque figures. And now being a hybrid vehicle, you can see now the state of charge of the battery. In the steering wheel, exactly the same like all Ertigas, volume controls on the left side, cruise control functions on the right side. And apologies, I don't remember this in the pre-facelift model. Below the volume controls on the left side, you have your phone connectivity and Bluetooth buttons here. On the left side of the dashboard, you have one black button, electronic stability control, parking sensor, and the auto start stop function feature. So here in the gear lever, exactly the same. There's the overdrive function. So this Ertiga Hybrid GLX variant is still mated to a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, I said 6-speed automatic transmission at Ertiga Sport Hybrid quick walk-around review last September at the Philippine International Motor Show. I mean, it is true. There are some markets, I think India and Indonesia get the 6-speed automatics. So I really wish they get the 6-speed here in our market along with that sport variant. But sitting here now, I think it's gonna be the 4-speed still, sadly. This is the biggest thing I don't like with this Ertiga Hybrid. Okay, in the infotainment system, it's much bigger than the pre-facelift model. This now is at 10 inches. This one supports Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The reverse camera, completely the same with the XL7 and the pre-facelift model. Now at the PIMS event with the Ertiga Sport Hybrid, that had leather seats and a 360-degree camera. So I really wish they bring that here because everyone was so excited, and look how much views I got on that quick walk around review. So that's probably the model to have against this GLX. So Suzuki Philippines, please, hopefully you guys bring that here because that will be a welcome addition of the Ertiga Hybrid here in our country. So for now though, we will stick with this GLX. Yeah, everything's the same like with the GLX Black Edition that I've driven. You have your climate control buttons here below the infotainment system, and then further down below you have a USB port, aux cord 12-volt socket, a cubby space for your phone, fits my phone perfectly, and then 2 cup holders, fits my water jug perfectly. And the thing I keep forgetting with Ertigas, there is a cooling feature in the cup holders. And then glove box, okay, pretty decent. Then you have a manual handbrake here, and then you have a halogen dome light above here, visor, no mirror, no ticket clip holder. Yeah, that's pretty it. So another thing I want to talk about now with the Ertiga Hybrid in general, it's so good that the hybrid is now available too with the manual trim. That costs a little bit cheaper than this top of the line variant. So my case will still stand with the XL7 and Ertiga GLX Black Edition review. The one I would have will be the GL manual because it already has the goodies like the infotainment system. I know that's only 8 inches compared to this 10, but I've experienced with the 8-inch infotainment system. It's still not bad. Still has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, just what I need. So containing here in the interior, not much to say really, it's exactly the same. So second row, exactly the same too. There is a central armrest, but sadly no cup holders. And then on the rear door, there's no more wooden trim on it, but you still have a cubby space and a bottle holder. Space there in the back, in the second row, exactly the same like in the pre-facelift model. So feet room, knee room, and headroom are all excellent. And then now in the third row, everything's decent. So small adults and kids would be perfectly fine there in the third row. And as well, you have cup holders on each side. So with that it, let's go for a drive.
Several days later.
So finally driving the all-new Suzuki Ertiga Hybrid. Alright, without further ado, okay, you can actually hear the electric motor. Okay, right. First initial impression of the hybrid system. Okay, yeah, I know I was a bit nitpicky when I said it had almost the same power figures as the non-hybrid model, but the low end torque is pretty good, I have to say. Like slight improvement since of course having the 12-volt mild hybrid system. 30 kilometers per hour, then floor it. Whoa, okay. Okay. Right. I know I was a bit bashy earlier on in the showroom, with good reason. However, driving it now, okay, this is actually really good. I'm very impressed. The steering feels light, but it's not too light. Like, there's just the right amount of feel on it, and I don't really get it. Like what I said in the XL7 review, the G-force meter, that makes no sense at all. Oh, engine is off. And then floor it. Ah, okay. That engine start-stop feature is actually pretty responsive, and it's not jerky at all. So I will try to go to a stop again. And for once, in an Ertiga, since this being the hybrid, I had a little bit of wheel spin. So yeah, off the line and coasting, it will tend to spin its wheels. So I understand now what Suzuki, the entire Suzuki PH research says for spirited driving. Okay, I'll give them that. It's not faster than how I wanted, but it's pretty good. I mean, look, just suddenly floor it. Oh, okay. This is surprisingly punchy. I am very impressed compared with the regular one. And it sounds good too with the electric motor, the 12-volt battery. You can hear a little bit of a whir on it. That is something common with all hybrids and electric cars in general. Let's calm down a bit. And as well, I forgot to mention, like all Ertigas, even the non-hybrid brands, there's an overdrive function over here. So that's like your unofficial sport and eco mode. But of course, you know, all me, I'll turn the overdrive on always because it responds way better than the overdrive being off. And that maneuverability around here in the city, I'm following an old Ertiga. Okay, it's like your usual Ertiga. It's pretty good, and over humps and bumps, soaks them up pretty well. And I don't know why, compared with the gasoline variant, or maybe I haven't not driven a regular Ertiga in a while, the NVH in here is pretty decent as well. It's not as good as some of its competition, just being honest, but better than most. There, you can hear the electric motor like whirring a bit. It sounds actually cool. Okay, this is what I'm surprised to with the Ertiga Hybrid. I know there's an electric motor. Usually mild hybrids tend to get a little bit heavier than its non-hybrid counterparts, but surprisingly this one feels as agile like with the pre-facelift model. And this is what I like with the facelift model hybrid. You get a manual transmission with this hybrid. Can you imagine how much fun that will be? And right now, let's check the fuel economy. I'm only driving it here so far, just around in BGC. It's not a fair comparison, it's too low. So I understand the people who are actually enraged with Soju Cars' test drive of this of 7.8 kilometers per liter. That's what the advantage of mild hybrids do with the integrated starter generator compared with the regular alternator. It's so good around traffic. But you all know me, I'm not a fan of start-stop. But this one, against its Japanese counterparts, this one's a really good one. And probably one of the best systems out there too. Right, I did not believe at first the spirited driving in Suzuki's Brusher, but alright, I will admit defeat. It's actually fun to drive, I gotta say. And what else to talk about? And oh, okay, before I go to my final thoughts, this is really actually fun to drive. Get high speeds in no time, surprisingly. And another advantage of being a mild hybrid system, and it's as well small, the brake feels the same like with its non-gasoline counterparts. So likes, dislikes, okay, like what I said earlier, well, days ago in the showroom, I wish the battery was a little bit bigger. 12V is kind of a little bit too small for a mild hybrid, but again, I drove it, I'm having fun, it's not too bad as well. And as well, now the likes for this car, probably one of the best auto start-stop features in its class, and probably one of the most fuel efficient too. Of course, not with my driving. I know I've been doing only what, 7.8 kilometers per liter, but I know it will be one of the most fuel efficient out there compared with the 9.6 kilometers per liter I did with the non-hybrid and 8.8 kilometers per liter I did with the XL7. So I expect this Ertiga Hybrid to do a little bit better, just not today. So the idling stop just deactivated by itself. Oh, interesting. I never knew it could do that. And what else? So I really wish, and what everyone expected to, the Ertiga Sport variant, I really wish they bring that here, because that will be the most welcome variant here of the Ertiga. So that concludes my review of this Ertiga Hybrid. Okay, I know I had my setbacks with this, but surprisingly, it's better than what I expected. I had fun driving this. So that concludes my review, and as well, thank you again to Suzuki BGC, Miss Ranela, Sir FJ, and again, Adrian1011, show yourself here. So, hope you guys like and subscribe, and I will see you with more future car reviews. Bye-bye.